What's up, guys? Adam Green here with No More News. Thank you all for joining me today, Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Got a huge show today for you guys. Going to be discussing the recent interview that Trump's faith advisor, Pastor Paula White, had with Benjamin Netanyahu when he visited America last week. Going to be discussing the highlights from that, as well as some of the racial tensions and body cam footage from some of these upstanding Christian men, and some other news, as well as the 4chan leak. 4chan, apparently Israel's the biggest poster on 4chan. Nobody's surprised that it's a fed honeypot of disinformation. And some other stories as well. Maybe we'll have time to get to the Christians are the wannabe Jews, the true Israel. Perhaps we'll get to that as well. If not, we'll do it tomorrow. But wanted to start first with, it's a 40-minute interview. Need More Amalek clipped up some of the best parts, but he told me that I should watch the whole thing. The whole interview's good. So I'm thinking about maybe just playing it the whole way through instead of all the highlights that we clipped up. I want to watch all of it, so might as well just watch all of it with you guys. Have you guys seen it yet? It's posted on Daystar. What is this? 5 days ago, 55,000 views. Daystar is Christian Zionist website. Let's just play the whole thing. We'll play it on 1.25 maybe. So let's get going.
He wasn't.
It starts off with his boat shilling, his Jesus boat shilling.
You know, it sort of defies the laws of history, because according to the laws of history, if you're gone, you're gone. They call America the great Satan. They call us the small.
All your rabbis say that America is Edom and our guardian angel is Satan also. Don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. This is like the pot calling the kettle black. We've got all the rabbis saying America and Europe is Edom, and that Edom's guardian angel and minister in heaven is Samael or Satan. And he's going to get up here and say the Muslims think you're Satan. Such a joke.
Small Satan, but we're the small Satan in their way.
80-something nations called saying you're going to start World War III.
So-called International Criminal Court, which itself became criminal, and is targeting American soldiers and Israeli soldiers.
My son looked at me when the war broke out. He said, Mom, I'm thinking about going over and helping.
So people said
her Christian son wanted to go help, wanted to go die for Israel, go fight Hamas for Israel.
Jesus was on it, and I said, you don't know that he wasn't. Bethlehem was about 80% Christian. That was just a few decades ago. Now it's 20%.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to welcome you to a special Daystar presentation.
Wise.
Connecting Christians and Jews in the spirit of faith.
We love the nation of Israel and believe that the
Look at that
power
set.
of God can transform lives and make an impact in the Holy Land, which is why we are presenting to you an exclusive interview with Paul.
Gnostic informant told me that when he was in Israel, he saw the Jesus boat, and there was like a bunch of Christians lined up to go see it, and they were all crying and stuff for this fake boat they're shilling as a Jesus artifact
And
tourist
Prime
trap.
Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu.
So get ready to be inspired and receive insight on the significance of moving the capital to Jerusalem,
Oh,
the
boring.
importance of faith in families, and much more. I'm praying
The importance of
that you would
Israel.
invite the Holy Spirit to have his way in your heart as you watch. Enjoy.
Frog Eyes says, shout outs coming over from White Rabbit Radio live stream where we are all arguing about Christianity and Adam Green stuff.
Welcome.
Sounds like the comments everywhere. I was just watching the backlash, a bunch of Catholics, and they were talking about the Christian pagan divide.
To the Meaning Channel. I am Pastor Paula White, and I am here in Washington, D.C. at the Blair House with a very, very special guest today. It is such an honor to be with the Prime Minister of Israel.
Did she just say very, very special guest? Didn't Trump just say the same thing? Are we being NLP'd? Very, 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 very. I got to go find the Trump one. He says the same thing. Israel is very, very important, he said.
Meaning Channel. I am Pastor Paula White, and I am here in Washington, D.C. at the Blair House with a very, very special guest.
Do you guys remember that? Yesterday, I talked about the very special genocider, the very special chosen person. Her first question is, are we in the end times? You know, the important issues that matter.
It is such an honor to be with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. It is your first visit to Washington, D.C. after the inauguration of President Trump.
Oh, this must have been not his. He's been twice already. So this must have been a month or so ago when he came over the first time, when Trump first pushed in his chair.
You are the first invited guest. It's good to have you, Prime Minister.
Of course.
Honored for you to be with
guest.
us. The Christian vision of end of days foretells of some profound transformation and redemption. And based on the events that are unfolding today, do you feel that we are seeing these signs of this vision come to fruition?
First question, are we in the end times?
First of all, that vision of the
Is Jewish.
return of the dispersed people to the Holy Land, the reconstitution of Jewish sovereignty in our ancient land, guided us through centuries, and people didn't believe that it would happen. You know, we said
Guided them, their prophecies guide them through centuries. They've guided them for over 2,000 years. I have a chapter in my book called The Prophecy Deception, where I talk about how the prophecy guides them and is an end goal that they work towards. It's a script that they follow and a blueprint and a manual, a strategy manual. And there's Netanyahu confirming exactly that. Interesting.
century after century after century, next year in Jerusalem, next year in Jerusalem. It wasn't just
That's what I always say, too. They go, Zionism started with Herzl, an atheist, and it's the fake Israel. I said, or they say Zionism's not Judaism. No, they pray. They've been praying in Judaism, their Judaism prayer, since the temple was destroyed, to next year in Jerusalem, praying to rebuild the temple 3 times a day.
the prayer. It became a call for action. And
It's not just let prophecy unfold. It's a call to action. And then when they accomplish their prophetic goals that they follow, they say, look, it's a miracle. Prophecy is fulfilled, so it's real. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
late 19th century, it began to be realized by a great prophet, like a modern Moses, that's Theodore Herzl, who said, this is not just a dream, it has to be realized. And we made our way back, fought for our independence, against all odds won. That's a miracle by itself.
Yes.
Reconstituted our capital, our ancient capital, Jerusalem. It's been our capital for 3,000 years, since the time of King David. That's a miracle. I think this is a string of miracles by themselves. You can explain it in various ways, but I think there is something that defies.
So how does he say it's a miracle? He just explained how it's their action. They prayed for it all the time. They yearned for the ingathering of the exiles, and then they finally accomplish it, and they say it's a miracle.
It sort of defies the laws of history, because according to the laws of history, if you're gone, you're gone. You don't come back. Well, we came back. And now, having come back, we are poised to meet the challenges that face us and perhaps expand the circle of peace. I intend to work very closely with...
Hold on. Did you guys catch that? Expand the so-called peace. Did he really just say that? Hold on, back it up to 320. You hear that? So-called peace. Sounds like something I would say. Freudian slip?
We are poised to meet the challenges that face us and perhaps expand the circle of peace. I intend to work
so-called peace. It's not real peace. It's so-called peace.
Very closely with Donald Trump. I don't think we've ever had a friend like him at the White House, and we've had friends, but nothing so powerful as him. He recognized Jerusalem as our capital. I mean, you think, why didn't the others do it? I mean, it's only been our capital for 3,000 years.
They were anti-Semitic.
Odd, but direct. He just did it. Then he moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. He recognized our sovereignty in the Golan Heights, which is also mentioned in the Bible many times.
Using the right way.
Fulfill the Bible prophecy, huh?
Easily understand what is the fastest way.
We're gonna heavily monetized on this video apparently, because they're so scared of Christians. Here's Trump. I want to hear him say the very, very...
In America and Israel and all around the world, a very happy Passover. Every year at this time, Jewish families celebrate
Passover.
God's liberation of the ancient Israelites from slavery in Egypt, guiding them through the prophet Moses on a 40-year journey to a very, very promised land. The story of...
Their very, very promised land. That was it. The very, very promised land. Not just one very, very, very promised.
He got out of this disastrous Iran nuclear deal. And then he did something else. We did.
And now they're trying to do another nuclear deal to stop them to have nukes. But apparently New York Times is reporting today that Trump, quote unquote, waved off an Israel attack on nuclear sites. There's going to be huge peace, according to the plot and how the story goes. There's going to be huge peace before Gog and Magog unfolds.
Together.
And the golden age of Edom.
Without him, it wouldn't have happened. He brokered the historic Abraham Accords, named after Abraham, with 4 Arab countries.
Named after Abraham? I didn't know that. Abraham who?
And in 4 months, we got 4 peace treaties with Arab states.
So-called peace treaties.
Is all that miraculous? I think there's something that guides us. There's a mission, a historic mission.
A Zionist mission, a prophetic mission that guides them.
We have, in this effort, the support of our Christian friends around the world. We've not had greater friends.
Well, you do have such
no greater friends than the Christians.
Friends, and myself included. I want to ask you a question about the moving of the embassy, but I want to say something before. Of course, I've been with President Trump for 24 years. And prior to him going into the administration as president-elect on your visit, Historical View. And
she's been with him for 24 years, okay? 24 years. Let's give you a little bit of how wacky she is before we continue on anymore. First of all, remember this one, the speaking in tongues? This is who we're dealing with here. Ultra-Zionist, religious wacko that speaks in tongues. Totally normal. Power. I got a soundbite for that one.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy.
You're crazy, man. And who could forget? Oh. And who could forget this one? Her prosperity gospel. Here, hold on. Let me pull this up. This is outrageous. Here we go. Where's the audio?
is the one who has the secret for how I can get my miracle. So please, Paula, tell me, what do I need to do to get this miracle?
What do I do right now? You see, as you say, hey, Pastor Paula, I don't want to miss out, just like the prophet came to you and you were obedient, you're coming to me and I'm going to be obedient. What do I need to do? There are 3 levels that the Lord spoke to me about.
What do you do? Hey, the goys are asking, what do you got to do to be obedient to God? What do you got to do? Let me guess, pay you money?
There are a few people, I'm not talking to everybody right now because this is not for everyone. But there is someone that right now knows that I am speaking prophetically by the Holy Spirit, and you are to sow a $3,000 seed.
Oh my God. She's speaking prophetically with the Holy Spirit, and you are to give her a $3,000 seed. Are you kidding? Of course. Would Trump have any other pastor but a woman like this? Zionist cuck, you can understand everything she's saying. You must be a prophet. You must have the Holy Spirit. Can you believe that? She learned from Benny Hinn, her ex-husband, apparently, the guy that goes on stage and like pushes people and they fall down.
But there is someone that right now knows that I am speaking prophetically by the Holy Spirit, and you are to sow a $3,000 seed.
Hold on. I'm feeling the Holy Spirit, guys. Hit me up on Power Chat. I'm feeling the Holy Spirit. If you want to be blessed before Easter, I just need a $3,000 seed. I need your seeds. And then you can grow into a mustard seed. Like Roseanne said, I'm feeling the Holy Spirit. I'm channeling the power of Odin and Thor. Hit me up on Power Chat. We're demonetized on Odysee. Stripe debanked all of Odysee, my main source of income. And now you're going to have to find the Power Chat link in the description below. Is it there? It's not there on Rumble. I'll drop it in there. Power Chat in the description below. If you guys are feeling the Holy Spirit and you need to tithe and you want to be blessed.
So I need to send you $3,000? Sounds to me like this message didn't come from the Lord, but rather that you are a complete scam artist.
Trump's girl, faith advisor. Here she is too. Just a couple. This is like last week. This Easter, before Easter, give her $1,000, and you will receive 7 supernatural blessings.
Exodus 12. And I believe that when you honor God on Passover, starting on April 12th at sundown through Good Friday on the 18th and concluding on Easter Sunday, you can receive these 7 supernatural blessings for you and your house, according to Exodus 23.
Don't you want blessings for your house?
Liam Jarrett sent $10. I'm sowing this seed and expect 7 times 70 back.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Pay me 70 or 7. You will get 70 back. Bless me and you will be blessed. That's what Odin says. I felt the Holy Spirit and Odin says, bless me and you'll be blessed. $1,000 before Easter. You've got a few days left.
God will assign an
Trump appointed this woman to be the head of the Faith Council of America.
angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life. He'll bring increase in inheritance, and he'll give a special year of blessing. You're not doing this to get something, but you're doing it in honor to God, realizing what you can receive.
See, you're not actually getting the blessings. Don't expect any blessings in reality. You're doing it for God. Pay her for God, and don't expect anything. You're not actually going to be blessed. Can you believe this? This is like a parody, an SNL parody of a Christian televangelist con artist. Brother B for 2 says, big scandal going on at Daystar. Joanne Lamb's son alleging his 5-year-old daughter was messed with in some way by someone close to his mother. They always have sexual abuse scandals in these big churches. Yo, Curious Canuckle says, don't you convert me to Paula White ministry now, Adam. Yeah, I know you guys are going to all convert. Are you convinced? Are you guys convinced that you need to donate to be blessed?
For your special Passover offering of $1,000 or more as the Holy Spirit leads, you will also receive the beautiful 10-inch Waterford Crystal Cross. Don't miss your moment to release 7 supernatural blessings and provision into your life.
Christianity is such a con, and that's why so many con artists gravitate to it. Unbelievable. All right, now, where were we on the super serious interview with Netanyahu about the end times death cult?
Era, it was brought to his attention of 6/11 and the importance of that, because that is, I've now been informed, the exact time that Truman signed, and that was also the exact time in Butler, Pennsylvania. I personally don't think that that would be a coincidence, but divine providence of God saving his life and having a purpose for the world.
I think that history is different because of that quarter inch.
Yeah, have that.
History is different because of that quarter inch. As far as the Truman Declaration, I put that in our cabinet room. We have a cabinet room,
Yes,
government
sir.
cabinet room. And I put next to it the Trump Declaration, recognizing Jerusalem. Now, we didn't speak about it, but I viewed it with the same, they're both so pregnant with meaning, that I just put it one next to the other.
Pregnant with meaning? Is that like a terms people use? It's pregnant with meaning. Okay, guys, can I get pregnant with some power chats? How about that?
So profound.
Are you guys pregnant with power chats? You're just ready to explode and give birth of endless power chats in funny voices to add to the
President
show?
Trump has been a tremendous champion of Israel. I was by his side during that time in the administration, and I'm grateful to be sitting here with you as well. He made history as the first U.S. leader, as you said, to move the embassy. I'll never forget the weigh-ins, and we sitting there, and everyone, 80-something nations called saying, you're going to start World War III. And he looked at me, Paulo, what's the final weigh-in of people with faith? And I said, absolutely do it. It's right, both with history, it's right with God, and it's what you campaigned on, and we know promise made, promise kept. But he moved it to Jerusalem, Israel's capital, and in your view, what would be some of the next most significant milestones that would strengthen the bond between the Jewish people, America, the state of
Third
Israel?
Temple.
Well, I think the president is already doing it. In 2 weeks, he's done things that not only put things fully back on track, but also point to the future.
Yes.
The first thing he did, among the first things, he stopped the embargo of weapons to Israel. We're fighting a seven-front war against our common enemies, the enemies of America.
Did he just say seven-front war? Like how in the Bible they had wars with 7 kings of Edom, or there were 7 kings of Edom before the Kabbalah story. There were 7 nations, the Hittites, Canaanites, all of those that they conquered as well when they took the promised land.
They call America the great Satan. They call us the small Satan, but we're the small Satan in their way. And so we're fighting the seven-front war, and it was...
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari,
Come on.
Executive Officer.
Guys, don't give me a hard time and say, get brave, get a blocker, okay? I have a blocker. It just doesn't work on YouTube, apparently.
To put it this way, that we...
By the way, look at this. Not a coincidence. They always try to tie things into prophecy. Yeah, they need to get things back on the Zionist track. The 7 nations are 7 nations that, according to the Bible, lived in the land of Canaan prior to the arrival of the Israelites. God instructed the Israelites to destroy these 7 nations upon entering Canaan.
We had an embargo on critical arms during that time. And one of the first things President Trump did, knock out that embargo, restore the weapons and ammunition shipment to Israel, which is so needed. It's reminiscent of Churchill said, give us the tools and we'll do the job. We'll finish the job. Well, President Trump just gave us the tools. That's right.
What finished the job to blow up everything in Gaza so there's not a building left standing in Gaza? You needed more missiles to blow up and turn all of it to a parking lot so you guys could take it? That's what it was for?
Second thing he did was he removed these sanctions that were put on Jewish residents of Judea Samaria, the heart of our historical homeland. Did it like that. The third thing he did was issue these...
No, what it was, but my understanding is that they wanted to be able to label so we could know if things come from occupied territories and illegal settlements, so people could not buy them if they didn't want to support illegal occupation settlers. That's what it was about. I remember I think it was Trump's first term, he overturned that and made it so they're not allowed to label things made in Judea and Samaria or whatever they would say. I remember Pompeo tweeting about that. And then he did a shill. He's like, everybody buy your Judean Samaria Jewish wine picked by Goy slaves, but they're not allowed into into the brewing room.
Forceful orders for measures against anti-Semitism, which is really anti-Americanism, anti-Israel, on America's campuses and elsewhere. And not bad for a few days.
Deported all of the anti-Israel protesters from all of the top campuses. Opened up investigations on college campuses and in anti-Semitism. Just today, they're trying to use the IRS to change the tax status or remove federal funds or something from Harvard.
Not bad for a few days. And he rescinded this thing that was protecting the ICC, the so-called International Criminal Court, which itself became criminal, and is targeting American soldiers and Israeli soldiers, me, potentially any leader of America. He just removed that protection, which I think, it just is amazing. And so decisive and so quick and so clear.
Absolutely. And we think that was probably within the span of a week.
Something like that, yeah.
So
I may have doubled the time.
Yeah, we have 4 years, and thanking God for that.
Very big.
And in Israel,
Whoa, hold on. What did I say? 4 years of what? Making God happy? 4 years to do more for Israel to make God happy. Is that what she said?
And we think that was probably within the span of a week.
Something like that, yeah.
So
I may have doubled the time.
Yeah, we have 4 years, and thanking God for that. And in Israel, many may not.
Thanking God for that. Zionist Cuck says, and now just trying to imagine the way she orgasms. Why? Ew. Oh, because of the because of the tongues. Yeah, when she orgasms, she starts screaming out in Hebrew tongues.
Fully realize the extent of Christians' dedication, especially evangelicals, who support Israel through their love, through their commitment, through Zionism, and often it can go unnoticed. But what do you think can be?
Not going unnoticed. We noticed. We're all noticing the Zionist slaves of Israel. We've noticed, actually. Actually, we've noticed.
Done to foster a deeper connection, mutual understanding of the common vision that we have, the common history we have, and how we move together in a more meaningful way in our future.
First of all, engage.
Common vision. They're both waiting for Bible prophecy to unfold. Common vision. They're both waiting for a Messiah of the Torah to rule the world.
More. I mean, that's what we're doing in this interview. But I'd say also come to Israel. Also be, you're informed of the Bible, but understand how the Bible is really being played out in real time on this piece of earth that is so
played out like a movie, like a theater. Played out like the theater of life. The Bible's being played out. Total confirmation of like what I say all the time. And then the Bible's being played out, and then cut to Trump where he goes, Joe, the prophets say the world will end in the Middle East. This is huge. What an interview. What a blessing. I feel blessed with this type of content. If I would have wanted to see anybody interview Netanyahu, it'd probably be, anybody that's, a Zionist would be Paula White for the best content.
The Bible, but understand how the Bible is really being played out in real time on this piece of earth that is so critical to
played out to conquer the Goyim.
There's a lot of bad fake news out there. One thing I heard of recently, is, and this is spreading to the Christian friends of Israel in America, that Israel is, persecuting Christians in Israel. My God, the only people believe these lies.
We've seen videos of like.
Why I'm George sent $7 the script from Jewish scripture.
Thank you, Tucker, aka Liam T. Jarrett. Yes, the script is from the scripture.
Place in the Middle East where the Christians are fully safe.
The Christians, when a Christian goes to Israel and they start preaching Jesus on the street, usually purposely to try to antagonize some hardcore extremist Jews. Yes, they will attack, they will spit. It does happen. But then he goes, oh, we protect all of the Christian sites, which I don't exactly know all the details on how much they're protecting Christian sites. I know Christian sites are protected in the West Bank and in Palestine. But you listen to the rabbis, they consider them Jewish sites. They'll protect those. But the Christian ones, as soon as Moshiach comes and the Christians the Jews are in charge, that Jesus boat is going to be burnt up like stubble, like Esau stubble.
Safe, not to engage in their faith, but well beyond that.
Yeah.
To flourish to thrive is in Israel. Take the city of Bethlehem, well known to Christians, obviously. Okay, Bethlehem, when we ceded it in the Oslo Accords, okay, to the Palestinian Authority, was about 80% Christian. That was just a few decades ago. Now it's 20% because they turned it into, they drove out the Christians. And that's happening throughout the Middle East. The only place where Christians are fully protected, enjoy not merely equality, but a place of honor and dignity and support and embrace.
Christians have honor, dignity, respect, and embrace in Israel. He loves his Christians. He wants the Christians to come on a tourist trip to come visit the Jesus boat and all the sites. And I've seen in this interview also he talks about his Bible study hour.
Is in Israel, the Jewish population and the Christian population. So this is just horrible. I mean, the bad mouthing and the fake news reaches everywhere. And I implore my Christian friends to be armed with the truth. You don't need anything else, just the truth, the historical truth, present day truth. There is no greater partnership than the state of Israel and the believing Christians around the world.
I can agree with more.
No greater partnership. Nothing they hate more, right? Nothing they hate more, as long as you pick their grapes.
I've been going since about 1986. It made the Bible in so many ways come alive, but I fell in love with the people, with the culture, with the nation. I took my children and my grandchildren right before the horrific October 7th attack. And we embedded ourselves, a good friend was having a bar mitzvah, we embedded ourselves within the Orthodox community and had Shabbat together and ate together and fellowship together, studied the Torah together, went all over Israel. And it was one of the most memorable, best times that we have had as a family. And so we are so grateful. I encourage Christians all over the world, you must make your journey to Israel.
Yeah, good point, Zio Free. You must make your journey. You must come to Israel, Goy. How many churches has he bombed in Gaza, right? Here we go.
Listen to Paul.
I say it will be the best.
We will welcome you. In Jerusalem and Nazareth and the Sea of Galilee and all the places that you hear about, they're not somewhere remote. They're real places. They're actually very close to each other. So you can actually see where the Bible happened. You can actually see where it happened. And there are remnants too. I mean, there are churches, there's a church right in the Sea of Galilee where Jesus preached.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Shmuley Boteach went there. I should look that up. His tour of the synagogue where Jesus taught. That's how he framed it.
Now, it's there. It's standing there. You can stand exactly where Jesus stood. You can walk in the footsteps of Jesus.
See, I'll just...
Hey, come on, Goy. Jesus walked in Israel. Support us, Goy. Jesus never walked. It's a fictional story of a Jewish Messiah.
Kings.
The Pilgrim's Path.
And everywhere. And the prophets, all the prophets that you know.
Funny how you'd think that everybody would be clipping this up and this would be all over the internet, all over the timeline. I've seen 0 Christians taking any clips from this. All of the big accounts that are always stealing clips or posting a bunch of interesting stuff, none of them have posted any of these. I wonder why. Netanyahu praising Christians for 40 minutes. Netanyahu glazing and pandering to Christians for 40 minutes. Now, why would the Christians hiding their L's, right, see through it all? Isn't that interesting? Observation. Nobody clipped this up. I didn't see anybody clip this anywhere, but see through it all and need more Amalek. Our guys.
Oh, Jeremiah, Isaiah, you know it.
It's so life transforming. I love going up to Shiloh this past time where Hannah prayed and just meditating there and seeing just the richness of the Bible in its entirety. It makes everything make sense. And now the archaeological things that have been discovered and the findings that are still happening really give people such an education that I'll be honest, they will not get over here in America at 30 minutes in a church or an hour at a church service. They certainly won't get in the universities over here.
Well,
it's almost, I say as a Christian, it should be mandated to go to Israel before you get to heaven. I'm so.
Wow. Don't go to Israel. Don't go to heaven.
No, I say come to Israel and be critical of what you get not in the universities. I think in the elite university, there's been almost a closing of the American minds.
Yes.
Closing of young minds, reversing the truth. Israel is the problem in the Middle East. No, Israel is the solution in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
Israel is the enemy of the United States. Israel is the friend of the United States. Israel, in many ways, is confronting the very enemies that would like to destroy America. And unfortunately, this...
Hold on. We should clip this, see through it all. This guy saying, They're inverting the truth. They're not being truthful. They're the enemies of America. And then cut to a bunch of rabbis saying, America will be destroyed. Edom will be destroyed. And then cut back and he goes, we're your greatest ally. We protect you. We're then show him like hating on Christians.
Has entered into the campuses. You know, there are all sorts of NGOs that were doing this. Unfortunately, Qatar was doing this.
Of course.
They were giving a lot of this stuff, you know, promoting a lot of this stuff. And you see it, unfortunately, in Al Jazeera too, in Arabic. Just promoting this anti-Americanism and anti-Zionism, which is weaved together. And I would say it's time for a change. And I think Donald Trump is bringing that change. And good for him. It's about time.
I do too, and I encourage you. We're raising up because we recognize our own battles here. And
right. Need more Amalek. I was going to say that. Need more Amalek says, in the Talmud, Avodah Zarah 3b discusses how in the future, Gentiles will seek to join Israel in serving God, with some interpretation suggesting they will come to Jerusalem to learn Torah or participate in worship. Yeah, that's not just in the Talmud, it's in the Torah too. I think you had some of that too. Where was that? You cited one of the prophecies. What was it? Isaiah 2, 3? Yeah, Isaiah 2, 2-3. The Gentile Noahide making a pilgrimage to Jerusalem and the Holy Land under a one-world government ruled by Jewish monarchy from Zion. Isaiah 2, one of the deepest messianic verses. In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established, and all Goyim will stream to it. Many people will come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord. Zion is that mountain. To the temple of the God of Jacob. And then Zechariah 8. In those days, 10 people from all languages and nations will take hold of the hem of a Jew and say, let us go with you, because we have heard God is with you. And a bunch from the Zohar saying the same thing.
Raising up a generation. My son pastors now. He's almost 40 years old in a few months, and he's one of the biggest advocates for Israel. There are those voices, but the Bible is very clear that a house divided cannot stand. So the enemy outside attacked within. If I can get within and divide the people against each other, and there are some things that are non-compromising to God, and Israel is one of those. And with a biblical view, as a Christian, you must understand. I told Niv, I said, you could be Jewish without being Christian, but you cannot be Christian without understanding the roots of Judaism. It's impossible.
Which is, the roots of Christianity are embedded.
Absolutely.
And Judaism, as you know, but...
as you all know, besides the Copers Online, the roots of Christianity are embedded in Judaism. They'll be like, no, it's not. We're not Judeo-Christian. It has nothing to do with Judaism. It's the total opposite of Judaism. We're the fulfillment of Judaism. Where there's a new covenant. All the Copes. You're Jewish. Christianity is messianic, apocalyptic Judaism for the Gentiles. I already saw you guys clip this one up, but this was obviously a good one to clip.
You could be Jewish without being Christian, but you cannot be Christian without understanding the roots of Judaism. It's impossible.
Which is, the roots of Christianity are embedded.
Absolutely.
And Judaism, as you know, but it's not accidental that the founders of Israel, even though many of them were secular, they were also imbued with the Bible.
Sarah's father.
I always say this. They were imbued by the Bible. Even the ones that were secular, like Ben Gurion, I've always said this before too, he would make arguments and quote the Bible. All of the Jewish identity, the idea of Zion, the return, the prophetic return. Not accidental, right? Key words need more Amalek. It's not accidental. It's the plan.
Father's a scholar.
Well, he was a poet and a writer, but he was a great biblical scholar and a teacher of the Bible. So he in fact was a member of David Ben-Gurion's first Bible study group. David Ben-Gurion was our first prime minister. And it's so significant how significant the Bible was for him and that generation. Even
see how they go, Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism. They were atheists. Even though Ben Gurion, which we don't even know he's an atheist, he just wasn't like an observant religious Jew, still the Bible is important to them. Still they use the Bible. Still they were guided by the Bible. Still they're deeply, all of Jewish identity and culture is deeply influenced by the Bible. And then what do we have? So that's the big conspiracy. The Jews following their Bible plan to return to the land and fulfill their prophecies and rule the world with their Mashiach. And what do the internet Christians say? They're not real Jews. They don't believe in the Bible. They're secretly worshiping the devil. They hate Jesus. All of the missing things. All of the opposite. They invert the truth. The Christians invert the truth. Everybody's inverting the truth. Hardly anybody can get it right. Yo, Parhesia Time for 5 says, hey, brother, just popped in to donate some shekels to prove I'm not Jewish. Confirm not Jewish. He's our brother from the Outback, Australia. But I'll have to watch the replay later today. Big love to Australia, Parhesia Time. Good to talk to you the other night. Thank you.
The secular leaders among them believed that the Bible was the foundation of our existence and of our renewal.
The Bible's the foundation of their existence and their renewal and their Zionist plan. The Bible's the foundation. The Bible's the conspiracy.
So they had a Bible study class of which my late father-in-law was a member. And one time we brought my wife, Sarah, she was a little girl, to that place where they met. And many years later, I renewed the Bible study group in the Prime Minister's residence because I believe that the Bible is the foundation on which we stand. By the way, 3 of Sarah's brothers were national Bible quiz champions. We have a Bible quiz. It's tough.
Yeah.
And they were champions. And our son, at the age of 15, was a national Bible champion, too. So we've got the Bible running strongly in my family.
National Bible champion?
I so admire this because one of the things with Judaism and Israel is there is such an understanding of your faith. People really study the Torah, study the Word of God, and the importance of that. As you kind of mentioned before, we touched on this, there's this false narrative going out to America, particularly through the fake news, through probably outlets and maybe even people that have been, I always say, follow the money trail and find out, why someone's saying what they're saying. Or because in America, if I would be in a city and I would see these protesters that were against America, against Israel, I try to go up and sometimes speak to a few of them. They had no idea.
They don't have a clue.
Not a clue what they were even quote unquote protesting. And I started thinking, they're being paid, really. I mean, I thought, what are they, and it wasn't nearly as big as the media would make it look. It was a very small handful of people. But let's talk about that because around the world there are...
See, nobody really has a problem with Israel. Nobody really has a problem with what's happened in Gaza. They're just all paid protesters. Okay, sure. That's why you're deporting all of the paid protesters, huh?
And Trump might call them some bad actors, and then there are good countries and countries that are not. Israel is it's the religious right, but it's also geopolitically right, the only place of democracy in the Middle East. And some of that messaging has come from other countries. Maybe it's Iran, Qatar. Talk to me about some of the things that we fight here in America that people might not recognize.
Well, I think you're right. Iran has been sponsoring this, but Qatar has to choose. I think our newly appointed ambassador says you can't fund the arsonists and the firefighters at the same time. You can't do that. So you have to choose. Which side are you on? Yeah. You can't play all sides. Choose. They recently helped us with the ceasefire, the temporary ceasefire.
Okay.
Big idea.
Another ad, heavily
They're
added.
hosting these Hamas terrorists. Choose.
Yeah.
Choose. If that choice is made stark and clear, I think it'll help everyone. It'll help everyone in the Middle East, everyone in the world, and it will help also get the facts straight. The most important thing is people have to, say they have to get the facts straight. They don't know any facts. They don't even have crooked facts or false facts. They don't know anything.
Yeah.
They just say, Israel's the bad guy and they go in. I think America has no greater friend than Israel, no greater ally.
Agreed.
And Israel doesn't have a greater ally than the United States. And most of the American people understand that.
They do. And we've got to make sure that we continue that understanding. Because as you said, Prime Minister, there's the little devil, the big devil in that ideology. Right. And if people understood for many in a very terrorist mindset or an ideology that are raised that way, it is death to America. And they might not be speaking that. They are.
They do.
They are.
They do.
They are. But they'd say it's not.
Yeah, and what do the rabbis say? We've got hours of rabbis talking about how America is Edom and it's going to be destroyed. Hours of that. Yeah, the people hate us because of Israel. And we're bigger than them. And we enable them. That's why they blame us. They want to conflate the two, like, oh, they just really hate you, and we're just like the first line of defense against the people that really hate you.
Just about the destruction of Israel. It doesn't stop there. And I believe that is because of the foundation of faith. I believe that because we know two things, that America was founded on Judeo-Christian values, and Israel is founded on Father Abraham. And we are out of that. And so we clearly understand that, many of us here in America, but we've got to make sure that we're educating the generations after us and continue to preach this, teach this, talk this.
Well, that's why we're trying to put the 10 Commandments in schools and the Noahide Law moment of silence in schools and Bible prayer back in schools. We got to indoctrinate the youth. We got to, like Trump says, we got to love Israel more.
Have it over dinner, research it, get the information, get it right, as you said.
But, people sometimes think that everything that trends that you saw before will continue indefinitely into the future. For example, people question whether the younger generation, which resorts sometimes to TikTok and other things, will they fight for our country and for our survival and our future when the test comes? They fought and fight like lions, Yes. The Bible says they shall rise like lions, and they did, and they do. And people here say the next generation of Christians are being weaned away or waning in their support for Israel, maybe, but maybe also in their, in their commitment to America's traditional values. Who says that's got to continue? Right. I think there's a change happening right now. I think it just happened.
Yeah, I do.
I think a change just happened, and people seek spiritual content for their lives, and many are coming back to religion. And when they do, and when they look for the sources, the wellsprings.
See how happy he is? I see Christians online celebrating about some stat that like more people are joining the Catholic Church. And the rabbis are celebrating this, and Netanyahu is celebrating this.
Spiritual content for their lives, and many are coming back to religion. And when they do, and when they look for the sources, the wellsprings of our civilization, our societies, they'll come back to the roots, and the roots came from...
He goes, we'll come to the roots. He points to himself, the roots. So I'm telling you, Jesus is fake. So Adam Green says Jesus is fake, the Bible's fake, the prophecy's fake, and it's all bullshit. Netanyahu says Jesus is real. Come visit Israel where Jesus walked. Come buy your ticket to the Jesus boat. I'm saying we don't need more religious Bible indoctrination. He's saying, oh, the Goyim are coming back to the Bible. It's so wonderful. And people still don't get it.
Exactly.
From that land, did you visit that? That piece of land at the edge of Asia, the edge of the Mediterranean is where it's all started. And, I gave 4 speeches before the joint session of Congress. Okay. And every time I go there, I stand on that podium and I look at that hall. That's actually the mother of all democracies, the assembly of all assemblies, okay? The parliament of all parliaments. And I look at the wall, right? Smack looking at me is the tablet that says Moses, the lawgiver. And it actually has a quote from the Bible, I think. I'm quite sure. And that's the foundation.
Yes.
They spoke about a city on the hill, founding fathers of America.
That's Israel.
It was Jerusalem.
Yeah.
America was founded as the new Jerusalem, connected to the original Jerusalem. And that's a partnership that I think is not going to disappear. I think we may be at a cusp, at a turning point where that enthusiasm, in fact, is re-energized. And I think it's going to happen.
I do too. And let me encourage you with this, because I'm sure there's, the fake news media all over the world. America right now is experiencing a 22% increase in Bible sales.
Really?
Huge. And then churches are actually, what is growing are young churches. So, and when I say that, a demographic, the people that are returning are going to church for the first time by the droves. The percentages that are increasing the highest are men that are under 30.
So Paul, you just gave me an idea. You just gave me an idea.
Hey, how to get your health insurance?
Celebrating Netanyahu, very happy about the Bible sales being up. Adam, not happy. Netanyahu, happy. What do you know? The Pope, the Israeli Prime Minister, and Moses in Congress. The biblical lawgiver whose relief overlooks the House chamber in their message to U.S. lawmakers. Is that what Moses looked like? Why is his head so smushed? You know who else they have up? Maimonides. They have one of these from Maimonides as well. Netanyahu ended his speech by noting Moses' role as a leader of the Jewish people and an inspiration.
honest, the war got in the way. Although I read the Bible during the war, but I didn't have time to assemble people. So my idea is this. I mean, just coming out of this interview. So we do this internet Bible study group, and we bring in English speakers, and we take a portion of the Bible and we discuss it. And I think that may actually, let's see how that goes.
That would be phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal.
Yeah, Jack, it's the new Rome and it's the new Jerusalem. It's the fake Jerusalem, though, because there can't be a new Jerusalem. That's just what they named Salem. So it's the new Rome. It's the new Babylon. It's the new Egypt. And it's really none of that. So they can say it's whatever they want. But no, you think the Jews believe America is the new Jerusalem? No, they're still stuck on the real old original Jerusalem.
If anyone could handle the technology of that is Israel. We know that it would be able to make sure that
I'm not worried about the technology. I think it's the content. The content that will capture people's imagination.
And I was going to say the content, because I feel like one of the most blessed people on earth. I really do. Hashem, God has been so good to me. And I feel like because I've gone to study Judaism for years and years, and not just with my evangelical friends, which it started that way. I was like, there's got to be more. Teach me this. I wanted to understand the foundation so much, but with great scholars and rabbis who have done that for me and helped me understand Jewish thought. So that's so important to understand the Bible and how it's being
Christianity emerged. It
Yes.
emerged from its Judaic roots. I mean, Jesus was teaching in the Galilee.
Absolutely.
And as I said, if you come to Israel, you'll see two things that will amaze you. One is you'll see the very places where Jesus taught and preached, the actual places, the buildings he was in. The second thing that will happen is you'll see the Jesus boat, I call it. Did you saw it?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the Jesus boat? I'm talking to a Christian audience, and I'm trying to get you to come to Israel or get you to get into this podcast that I'm going to do for the Bible, now that we've decided that. One day we had a drought in the Sea of Galilee.
Bible study with BB. Name suggestion. Bible study with BB. BB in the Jesus boat.
And the water level went down. And on the muddy banks of the Sea of Galilee, something was protruding. And it turned out that this was the remnants of an ancient fishing boat, fisherman boat. And we took it out and took care of it, protected it and so on. And now it stands in a special museum very close to the place where it was discovered. We took the carbon dating of that, and it's plus minus 20 years from the time of Jesus. So people said, well, you don't know that Jesus was on it. And I said, you don't know that he wasn't.
Exactly.
But it's the kind of the boat that Jesus used, when proselytizing to the faithful on the banks of the Sea of Galilee and in the water. That has to be seen. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're a Christian and you study the Bible and you're a believer and you want to immerse yourself in the common origins of our heritage, then come to Israel and see the actual places where all these things took place, and also learn the facts about ancient Israel and modern.
What else do Christians need to see? Anti-Semitic Christians online? Does it seem like Netanyahu hates Jesus? Does it seem like he's scared of Jesus? Does it seem like there's nothing he hates more than Jesus? Or is Jesus a political tool for him to gain support? Find some random boat and they market it as the Jesus boat to sell to Christians. I'm trying to make a grok image of Netanyahu shilling the Jesus boat, but we'll see what comes out.
You have no greater friend.
Well,
and we have no greater friend than our Christian.
I was going to say, as a Christian, it's our homeland. You have to go to your homeland and understand. It made everything. I cannot overemphasize.
Hey, Christians, Israel is your homeland. No, our homeland is in Europe. Only Christians that believe in Bible fake history, Bible fairy tales, think that that's your homeland. Oh, we're the true Israel. That's our homeland. That's where Jesus walked. Here's Netanyahu in front of his Jesus boat. 100 shekels to come see the Jesus boat.
My first visit, and I've had, so many since. I go all the time. Since 1986, made the Bible come alive. And there's just nothing that can do that. But when you go to Israel, Holy Spirit just enlightens you, and it makes sense. So I have a few things and questions about the relationship between Judaism and Christianity that's inspired by a verse in the Bible in Ephesians chapter 2. It says that Christians are no longer strangers and aliens, but we are fellow citizens with God's people and members of the household. Have you sensed in recent time an attraction of growing love of Judaism by Christians?
Yeah, I find it in unexpected places in the heart of Africa.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. In Asia.
Yeah.
In Japan. In Korea.
Okay, Christian Zionism is going worldwide. Look at what they were able to do with Christian Zionism in America. And now it's in Africa. There's going to be hordes, armies of non-white Christian Zionists that are Noahide Shabbos Goy slaves of Israel around the world, guys. That's what we have looking forward to. In Africa, in Asia, in South America, the Mexican, the Latinos. That's a David Goldberg. Latinos. Remember that one? He's waking everybody up, even the Latinos.
Yeah. In Russia.
Yeah.
In China.
If you want to learn how
China.
to edit really well from
Christian Zionist slaves all over the world
that nobody else is teaching.
I mean, it's quite amazing. And in South America, of course.
It's pretty miraculous, isn't it?
Sounds like, hey, don't make fun of Christianity. Don't expose Jewish Christianity or you're anti-white.
We always knew the traditional places. First of all, the United States, which always had this, from its foundation, this tremendous connection. But we saw it in Scandinavia.
Yeah, no wonder. All of the Christians online are like covering this up, pretending like they didn't see it. Definitely not clipping it up and making it go viral. Because it destroys all of their delusions. That's why. I think that's a huge observation. You think the Christians would be you think that, like, if they were really about exposing Netanyahu and Christianity and Christian Zionism, they would be sharing this, but they're not. Because they're accomplices covering it up.
We saw it in, in parts of Europe, but in the Philippines, I mean, very interesting the way this has developed, and the curiosity about Judaism, the study of Judaism. It seemed like this was fraying apart because of the anti-Israel, campaign in the UN and all these other sullied organizations. You'd think that.
Curious Knuckle says, "Is the Jesus boat the USS Liberty?" No, that one got sunk. The Jesus boat is the one where Jesus walked on water. $100 shekel ticket. Go to Israel, Goy.
That is a universal trend. Politically, it's going to be reversed now with President Trump. He's very strong. But what I'm talking about in terms of people, populations, it's a trend that is countered in all this political attack on Israel and the spread of the interest in Judaism, even, I would say, the deep studies, conversions even. I mean, very strong connection.
And it will only grow stronger.
Very strong connection between Christianity and Judaism.
Because it's God's plan. And I believe that with all my heart, that the world will, those that are destined are standing with Israel. And I always am reminded, there are many more for you than those against you. And so know that there are people praying nonstop, fasting nonstop, and standing with you. I mean, my son looked at me when the war broke out and he said, "Mom, I'm thinking about going over and helping." And I have 2 small grandchildren. And I said, "Are you even serious?" And he actually was.
No.
Because of his dedication and love for Israel. And I can only imagine.
Only in a thanks to Christianity, con artists and lunatics like this woman are multimillionaires and super famous and interviewing heads of state because of Christianity. Because of the clown world that we live in, and Christianity and the...
Him Jared sent $5. Why does Jesus need a boat if he can walk on water?
Yeah, why did Jesus need a boat? He was taking a nap on the boat during the storm until he calmed it, and then he walked on it. And remember, you needed the story about being the fisher of men, how they're going to go catch all of the goyim in the net, ensnare them in the net.
There's so many people that had those family talks.
What's up? Is Liam the only one that knows how to use PowerChat? All the people that used to donate on Odysee, you're just gonna let me take another big L by being debanked and not switch over to PowerChat? Come on, guys, don't let me down.
Times of prayer that literally they contemplated their own life to stand with Israel. So there are many, many with you, Prime Minister. So do you describe yourself as a person of faith?
In the deepest way, yes. If you don't have faith, you're not going to be you're not going to sustain the how shall I say the turbulence and vagaries and pain of politics. Politics is a great profession, but it's fraught with a lot of a lot of difficult passages, not only for me, but especially for my wife, my two boys. Sometimes they're vicious, not sometimes. Sometimes and often they're viciously attacked. And without their faith, their support, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I'm not just saying that. It's not just a common verbal expression. It's really true. And
what sounded like a no. That sounded like a bullshit Jordan Peterson answer. Do you have faith? And he goes, at the deepest levels I do, because other people I know have faith and they support me. Like, okay, so that's a no?
Keeps them supporting me as they believe.
No, he doesn't actually believe any of the bullshit. He just uses it. He just shovels it into the goyim mouths and spoon feeds it to the goy and his Zionist slaves.
In the things that I believe, and they've shown amazing resilience and amazing courage in the face of often vicious, scandalous attacks. Just scandalous attacks.
And we're sure this is shocking.
Rodney says relax with the e-begging. You're blocked, Rodney. Get blocked.
Complicated by the.
Hey, enough with the e-watching if you're going to complain.
Unbelievable.
Relax.
It requires unbelievable courage and fortitude.
I'm so grateful for your family, for the stance you've taken and stood with. I've watched from afar and up close for years and years. And as you said, politics has to be the most brutal thing appalling.
Israeli politics is tougher than most.
Yeah,
it's tougher than American politics.
And I was going to say, Americans actually saw that for, the up close and personal in a way that they'd never seen it before. With your faith, how does it influence your leadership and your vision for Israel?
Well, it used to be that when my younger boy, who's himself a Bible scholar, was living with us, then every Shabbat, every Saturday, we would read a portion of the Torah. And I have to say, until the age of 12, I was teaching him. His name is Abner. From the age of 12 on, he was teaching me. And
at the age of 15, he was the champion of the band.
Yes.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, so it's been more than a part of my life. It's been the essence because, when we...
So it's a part of his life because his 12-year-old boy knew the Torah better than he did?
We do everything we're doing there. Why are we there? I mean, we could be in Sweden or in Nepal or someplace. No, we can't be. We have to be there in the land of Israel, in the land of the Bible, in the land of our ancestors, and in the land that the prophet said, after the destruction of our temples, you shall come back. You shall ingather the exiles. You shall rebuild your life and your future. And this is not just, these are not empty words.
So that's not empty words. This is what guides their vision.
Absolutely.
If you're not filled with a deeper mission, there's no point.
The deeper mission to conquer the Goyim, to have global dominance from Jerusalem with their Messiah, to have the elder shall serve the younger, Esau shall serve Jacob or be destroyed. Yeah, the vision actually is from the Talmud, Paula. We're going to have 2,800 Goyim slaves. You could be one of mine. You're a nice shiksa. You could bake the matzah bread, but just don't touch it with your impure, unholy fingers.
There's no point.
Agreed. You're living life in purpose and carrying out the plan of God.
You live a life of purpose. And for me, the purpose has been to protect the Jewish state and assure its future. It's the deepest calling that I can have. And I'm fortunate to have my wife, Sarah, and our two boys to be full partners in this. And they've supported me throughout.
Such a blessing. Israel's a unique country where religion plays this crucial role in society, yet there is a strong commitment to freedom, but also you have liberal values. So you see this almost dichotomy, you see this fluctuation. How do you see the elements coexisting and complementing each other?
I don't think there's a real conflict there if you really understand the sources. I mean, the Jewish people actually gave the concept of freedom. It actually opposed.
Hey, Goy, you never heard of freedom but without the Jews. No morals, no freedom, no civilization, no architecture, no armies, no science. You just have nothing. You Goyim would have nothing without the Jews. No concept of freedom. Slavery is freedom in the Bible. Being a slave to Yahweh, on your knees, trembling in fear, licking the dust at your feet. That's freedom. Thanks for the freedom, Jews. Are you guys enjoying your blessings and your freedom from the Jews? I feel free from the Jews. Thanks, Jews, for all the freedom.
was the idea of slavery. I mean, you had a time limit for slavery in the Bible.
Time limit. Time limit. The Bible condones slavery, by the way. Oh, there's a time limit. Sometimes there'd be the Jubilee in 50 years and you could release the slaves. The Bible condones you're allowed to beat a slave as long as they don't die after a few days. Freedom is slavery, peace is war. So-called peace. Remember, he said so-called peace. Dude, could we get gaslit any harder? The chumps and the useful idiots that fall for Netanyahu, it's like we try to reach them. Oh, here we go. Liam again.
Sent $10. The Hippocratic Oath goes back to 450 BCE. It's more moral than the Bible by far.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, those pagan barbarian heathens, they didn't know nothing about no freedom. American freedom, communism is Jewish freedom, yeah. Freedom is slavery, peace is war. Dude, I can't even believe the clown show that I'm watching here. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah. Things that emanated from the Mosaic Code. So the idea of freedom, this is at the time, now think about it, this is like over 3,000 years ago, okay? I mean, the whole place, the whole world in the Middle East, has these empires that basically you have one guy who's the ruler. He's not subject to it. He makes all the rules, and he can enslave everybody. And that's, it's...
You mean like Moshiach? You mean like the law will come forth from Zion? You mean like Hashem and Moshiach? The Davidic dictatorship? The worldwide Davidic theocratic dictatorship. That's what the Bible teaches. The idea of a republic and democracy is quote unquote pagan, says Liam. Absolutely.
Common sense. And in comes this small people on the Judean hills, okay? And they say, no, that's not the way it is. You could be a king, even a great king like King David, but you're subject to higher law and you can't commit.
Alaba Mayoman sent $5. Most people don't know the difference between apple cider and apple juice, but I do. Here's a little trick to help you remember. If it's clear and yellow to the deed of that, you feast there, fella. If it's stanky and brown, you're in cider town.
Thank you, Ned Flanders. Very helpful advice there.
This is without a doubt the real face of evil, but it's okay. He's praising Jubbas. Sent $5.
Yeah. Netanyahu shilling for Jesus for 40 minutes. If that's not going to wake up the Christians to what Jesus is all about, I might as well just like throw in the towel and pack it up because they're never going to get it. And again, this is why none of the big anti-Semitic accounts online are making a peep about this interview. Not a peep. I haven't seen a peep about it. It should be the #1 story on Twitter. Not a peep from any of them about it. They're suppressing it. They're covering it up. They're accomplices.
Because you too will be held responsible and accountable.
Sassaman sent $10. If I make you a wooden No More News sign, could I mail it to the address you have listed?
Yeah. The P.O. box on the website. Absolutely. A wooden No More News sign. That sounds awesome. I tried to make some wood carved No More News stuff on Midjourney, but yeah, that would be very cool. I would love that. In fact, I'll put it up right here. Or maybe clearer. Oh shoot, we got more ads. I'll definitely put it up.
And no one is inherently a slave that cannot be. I mean, this was such a revolution. That's where freedom came from. These are the Judaic origins of freedom, and also it wants faith, but also, I think Jordan Peterson said that you wrestle with God. Jacob wrestled with God. You question, you believe, but you challenge all the time, and that's how Jewish thought developed over the centuries. You had great rabbis sending basically the internet of the Middle Ages. They would send letters to each other, questioning this and questioning that, and then coming to conclusions based on the development of our heritage.
The Talmud is the internet. I've heard that before. They say it was like the Reddit. The Talmud is the Reddit of the ancient times.
So I don't see that inherent conflict. I think it's overblown and not understood. And if you look at the origins of human freedom, it really goes back to the Bible.
Absolutely.
What bullshit? What? I want to Grok in ChatGPT and see what it says about that. Tommy Jode 86 for 5 on Rumble says no Pythagorean theorem without Christianity. Oh wait. No, they try to take credit for everything, and the Christians buy it up. And then when I debate these Christians, their only proof for God is, but my morals. You wouldn't have no morals without my Bible.
So insightful.
Netanyahu approved, rabbi approved arguments from Rabbi Dyer.
You know, I know they're going to wrap us soon, and if they allow us to continue to go, but there's something that I just have to ask you. In the Bible, women play such a pivotal role. And throughout your career and throughout this time that you have served so well, your wife, Sarah, has genuinely and tremendously stood out, not just symbolically, not just, yes, as your wife, but so much more. In fact, President Trump calls her your secret weapon. And every time I've been around her, she's beautiful. She's smart. But
beautiful. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Freedom in the Bible. Before the Hebrew Bible was written, 10th to 10th century, Sumerians had ideas of freedom. Babylonians had the Code of Hammurabi, freeing debt slaves, legal rights, contracts, order, justice, conditions which people could be made free. Ancient Egypt even pharaohs declared amnesty or released prisoner slaves for religious or political purposes. Greek notions of freedom. The word freedom or liberty is eleutheria. They had a word for it, but hey, we didn't have freedom until the Jews. Homer used themes of enslavement versus freedom in his epics. Athens had strong civic notions of political freedom. Like, why sit up here and lie and gaslight and try to boast in their chutzpah, try to boast about the Jews inventing freedom? Philosophers like Heraclitus and Democritus reflected on freedom as part of the natural order or as an individual condition of the soul. They're all developing independently from the Hebrew Bible. All right, Netanyahu's a bullshitter. We knew it.
She is so significant. And I think
ChatGTP has spoken.
If you could share, where's that strange?
Liam Jarrett sent $9 women pimped out by their own husbands and dads in the Bible.
I know, to say morals come from the Bible when there's so much immorality in the Bible, so much complete nonsense in the Bible, like death penalty for one who picks up sticks on the Sabbath. Like, is that morals?
And how, share some insight about your wife that maybe the public doesn't know, because I do think that politics keeps us very, guarded to some degree. And yet she is rock solid.
That's right.
And we have watched that for quite some time.
Oh, you actually nailed it. She has a dick and it's rock solid.
Well, she's a true lioness of Judah. She has her wellsprings of faith come from her
Alabama yeoman sent $5. I'll tell you what. Everyone should listen to Adam and ditch the Abrahamic psychological operation. Mm-hmm. If you love propane and propane accessories, you should help Adam pay his bills.
That's a good one. Thank you, Hank. Thank you, Hank from King of the Hill. I saw a really good meme, an AI meme of all the characters from King of the Hill as like real life people. Sarah Netanyahu, his wife, who she says is so beautiful. And apparently he talks about how her dad was a Bible scholar. Sarah Netanyahu. I don't know, man.
It's a man, baby. To admit, she is rather mannish. Well, no offense, but if that is a woman, it does look like she was beaten with an ugly stick.
Sorry, I had to do it.
And her mother, who were, as I said, her father was a biblical scholar, and her mother was just a very, very forceful, kind, and forceful believer.
Thanks, Bobby.
The Jewish traditions and the Jewish faith. And I was very fortunate to have her on my side, because she gave me sustenance in the worst of times. Not only me, she not only supported me, she supports children with cancer, wounded soldiers, lonely soldiers. We have lone soldiers who come from many countries to serve in the Israeli army, and they're alone, and she's helped them. She's supported...
Keeps the lonely soldiers? What's she doing with the lonely soldiers?
Families who lost their... with fallen soldiers, she goes to the families. She's a psychologist by profession, so she really connects with the people. And she just doesn't visit it like, you could say, okay, she's the wife of the prime minister. She has to sign off to say, I visited a bereaved family. No, she stays there.
Curious Canuckle says the Talmud is the 4chan of the old world. Basically, yeah. Written, authored by a bunch of feds.
hours.
And Jews.
And they connect. And then they turn to her for help. And she does that while she's acting as her job is to be a child psychologist in the Jerusalem municipality. So, and unfortunately, of course, she gets maligned. Listen, we have political opponents. They do horrible things. So
hey, are any other shows covering this, by the way? Have you seen any other streamers or YouTubers or anybody? Not only are they not tweeting clips from this or just sharing that it even happened. No, it's like nobody's covering it. All the Christians are like, pay no mind. Just ignore it. It'll go away. And you know why.
You're familiar with it. But it turns out that over the years, just a growing number of Israelis in our public appreciated her strength of character.
Yes.
And the durability of her values. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't be here without her.
Prime Minister, there's no better way to close than that, because I believe, it's been said, behind every great man is a really great woman. And I'm so grateful for you, for Sarah and your family, and the strength of your life and this calling. So thank you, because we know your contribution to the world, to our faith, and to our nation. Thank you so much, Prime Minister.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
We hope you've enjoyed this exclusive.
In fact, you guys missed it too. Right after that, they cut to the Israeli flag.
Content like this right into your homes. As always, our 24-hour prayer line is here if you need it. Just call the number on your screen. One of our prayer partners will be there to agree with you in prayer.
They always have the man and the wife doing it. Wow, that was a whole lot of shilling. Here's Trump's latest.
Imagine a movement. And as we gather with family and friends, we'll not forget the true source of our joy and our strength. America has put our trust in God. It will always be in God we trust. We will never change that. There's a movement to change it. It will not happen. We won't let that happen.
We'll always be under the Jewish God. We'll never let that happen.
Can you imagine a movement to change that? Robert, you're not happy about that when you hear it.
Yeah, nice golden, good one. Derp McDerp. Derp McDerp. Derp, check out that golden eagle. That golden Edom eagle there. Under God.
Angrier and angrier. We can get angry too, can't we, huh? No, it's never going to
Angry Christians?
change. And with
Seething Christians?
God's help, we can overcome every challenge, triumph over every evil, and restore the spirit of faith in the United States for generations to come. We have a very simple slogan: make America great again, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Make America
with family and friends will not
Christian again. All right. Pure Brother BD says, "Hey Adam, this is Pure Blood. I am running out of shekels. I want to challenge the chat to match my $2 donation tonight. If everyone in the chat donates $4, it would make a difference." I know, you guys, how about just a $5 from a couple more people on Power Chat, and we'll be all good. I wouldn't have to complain. And Mrs. No More News could be happy and not give me a hard time. GOP-controlled Senate in Texas just passed a bill to crack down on anti-Semitic speech in elementary schools. Clown world. Well, I mean, the elementary schools are full of little Nazis, right? Little Texas Nazis. IHRA definition. They're trying to impose this on every institution, every school, every university, every social media platform.
Aiming to crack down. Texas senators passed a bill today aiming to crack down on anti-Semitism in Texas schools. Senate Bill 326 requires Texas public schools, colleges, and universities to use the definition of anti-Semitism from the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance to determine if a student's actions are anti-Semitic. Governor Greg Abbott already signed an executive order.
And if they are, what is he going to expel a kid if they say Jews have loyalty to Israel?
Last spring, telling universities to make sure their free speech policies use that definition. So this puts the order into law.
Hold on. Free speech policies now? We're protecting your free speech by incorporating this anti-free speech definition where you're not allowed to criticize Jews for anything. They always sell it as protecting free speech as they take away the free speech. And why are they showing a bunch of... What kind of NLP is this. Oh, because the protests. Hey, they're thinking like, how can we stop these university protesters? Well, we got to brainwash them when they're in elementary school. We got to get to the children. They need a Noahide law moment of silence.
Speech policies use that definition, so this puts the order into law and expands it to public and charter schools. Texas senators passed a bill today.
Public and private charter schools. White House press secretary says the administration is revoking Harvard's tax-exempt status. So we had the BDS laws, now we have coming for all the campuses.
Harassed and targeted. Thank you, Matt, for being here, and thanks for the question. When it comes to Harvard, the president's position on this is grounded in common sense, in the basic principle.
Hold on, that's the Noahide law. That's the Noahide law phrase. They're common sense. They're just common sense laws. Trump is just being common sense.
That Jewish American students, or students of any faith, should not be illegally harassed and targeted on our nation's college campuses. And we unfortunately saw that illegal discrimination take place on the campus of Harvard. There are countless examples to prove it, particularly with the stunning confession by then Harvard President Claudine Gay, who said that bullying and harassment depended on the context. The president at that time made it clear.
Hold on, they were talking about they asked her, is From the River to the Sea a call for genocide? And she said it depended on the context. Do I think she had a nose job? I've seen the before and afters, but I mean, you can't compare what she looked like in high school to today and not expect it, like little changes.
To the American public, he was not going to tolerate illegal harassment and anti-Semitism taking place in violations of federal law. So the president made it clear to Harvard, follow federal law, no longer break Title VI, which was passed by Congress to ensure no student can be discriminated against on the basis of race, and you will receive federal funding. Unfortunately, Harvard has not...
Hold on, she said we have examples of discrimination, but then she cited them talking about from the river to the sea. So now because free speech on campus allows protesters to chant from the river to the sea, they're pulling their tax status? Is that illegal harassment to say from the river to the sea? Netanyahu says the same thing. The rabbis say the same thing. They want the Eretz Israel. They want the promised land. Government officials in Israel, like Smotrich, say they want all of the promised land from river to river. The namesake says, one of my favorite streams you did was when you came back after being deathly ill and absolutely eviscerated Fuentes and Peters and their disinfo lies. Absolute fire. Yeah, I remember that. When I almost died, I felt like I had a new lease on life. That was about a year ago, just over a year ago of that. Feels like forever ago. Although it also seems like time flies so fast.
Taken the president or the administration's demands seriously. All the
Damn, Jared sent $33, but the extra $3 to my third shirt.
To your third shirt? I don't get what you mean. I already sent you 2 shirts, Liam. I guess that's what you're referring to. Thank you, buddy.
President is asking.
God, the only one coming out to the only one that wants to use Power Chat, or I should say one of the only ones, is Liam, huh? Come on, guys, don't be scared of Power Chat. Thank you, Alabama. You donated too.
Don't break federal law, and then you can have your federal funding. I think the president is also begging a good question. More than $2 billion out the door to Harvard when they have a more than $50 billion endowment. Why are the American taxpayers subsidizing a university that has billions of dollars in the bank already? And we certainly should not be funding a place where such grave anti-Semitism exists.
Didn't Epstein have an office at Harvard? Was it Harvard?
Thank you, Matt, for being here, and thanks for the...
Israel lobby group Stand With Us just put out a feature-length film hyping campus anti-Semitism as a 5-alarm fire. The crisis, a drunk freshman girl joked to a friend on Snapchat about how we're going to effing bomb Israel, bro. I'm going to have to watch this whole thing.
George Washington University is unique. We are situated in the heart of Washington, D.C. just about 2 blocks from the White House, just down the road from Capitol Hill.
The Jewish life here is pretty rich.
Project, you sent $10. Here you go. Now stop complaining. Just kidding, Wall. Keep up the great work, man.
Thank you, Froggy McGee. Well, you guys can see the little goal under there, right? I wish that Rumble filtered into there. It's supposed to. I guess I got to work on it some more. But you guys are there for me
GW is
when
about
I need it.
25% Jewish.
We actually have 5 different Jewish organizations in total on campus, and I've pretty much dipped my toes into all of them, and they're all amazing.
Hillel and Chabad are both very welcoming places that are vibrant and well attended. So being Jewish on campus is pretty good here, minus when bad things happen.
Things started to happen, but I didn't foresee that it would become this routine and this repetitive.
Unfortunately, this year, GW has experienced many forms of hate speech. In early November, there was an anti-Semitic incident on campus.
A girl was videoed walking down the hallway of my dorm saying, we're going to bomb Israel, get out of here, Jewish pieces of you-know-what.
What are we gonna do to Israel?
Bro, we're gonna fucking bomb Israel, bro. Fuck out of here, Jewish pieces.
Okay, so a wasted, drunk, blonde girl, sorority girl. Really? That's what we're kvetching about? Some drunk, blonde girl? Who is this girl? I'm sure they ruined her life.
You know what?
What are we gonna do to Israel?
Bro, we're gonna fucking bomb Israel, bro. Fuck out of here, Jewish pieces.
I'm in love.
You are ostracized and marginalized, even if you are a progressive and a liberal.
Hold on, was that guy following her too? He's like following her at the camera. What did you say, drunk girl? Hey, drunk sorority girl, stumbling to your dorm room. Like, say that again. We're gonna put you in an anti-Semitism documentary. Jewish, probably. That looked like one of those IDF girls. Hold on.
Fuck out of here, Jewish pieces.
You are ostracized and marginalized, even if you are a progressive and a liberal. She turns around and she says, hey, yo, we're gonna bomb Israel, you Jewish pieces of shit. And that caused all sorts of outrage at my school.
Yay.
Outrage and condemnation, but that soon splintered into a debate on which aspects of what she said were anti-Semitic.
Oh my God, so anti-Semitic. Dude, this is the best example to raise up fear for this documentary.
Jesus Christ! Oh, Jesus Christ, you're such a little bitch. This is what I have to say to this guy. Jesus Christ! Oh, Jesus Christ, you're such a little bitch.
You're such a little bitch. Just a drunk girl.
Was it just the mention of Jews specifically, or was it also the call to bomb Israel?
We're never going to get rid of anti-Semitism.
White Falcon says, wow, she hurt me. I'm butthurt.
But what we do need is to make sure that our society, A, begins to understand what anti-Semitism is, B, begins to understand what Jewish identity is, and C, begins to see the harassment and discrimination that's taking place for what it is, and not confusing it anymore, or allowing themselves to be confused into thinking that it's a political debate. It's not a political debate, and discrimination of Jews is not speech.
Where is the discrimination? Discrimination is like saying, like, you can't be on YouTube because you criticize Israel and rabbis. Like, I've experienced discrimination. Being banned from all of these big tech companies, that's actual discrimination. Some drunk girl in an empty dorm room hallway laughing about bombing Israel is not discrimination. I saw some of the things they had on the screen, calling them baby killers or genocide supporters. That's not discrimination. That's somebody expressing their opinions. Discriminating is like saying you can't come to class because you're Jewish. Like, that's discriminating. Screaming out while striking, huh? Isn't that crazy? Waiter for 5 says Subscribestar helps too, right? Absolutely. Subscribestar link below if you want to join for a monthly donation. It means a huge help. Thank you, Water, for being subbed on there and tuned in for years. Says, thanks for my hard work. Thank you. Thank you. Saying the truth about Jews is discrimination. Right. That's amazing. Beyond parody. Oh, here's another one. UC Berkeley Jewish student activist shared his reaction to witnessing a pro-Palestinian protest. I went back home and started crying. So protesting about the war in Gaza is discrimination. Remember the hoax they ran about the girl that was stabbed with the flagpole? It was like a little chopstick, tiny flag, and she was like right up next to a group of people walking by. And then she goes all over the news and doesn't even have a bandage on. There's not even, her eyes not even red. She was totally fine. And that was the big victimhood.
During my freshman year here at Berkeley, there was a public debate. There were about 200 pro-Palestinian students.
Nope. Freeing Palestine. Palestine cannot be free because freedom comes from the Jews, number one. Freeing Palestine is discriminating against Jews.
They started screaming, "You're a murderer, you're a terrorist, you're a supremacist."
True. So they can call them all Gaza and all terrorists and all murderers. They can call everybody else, every white person that doesn't hate themselves, a supremacist, but calling them supremacists, which you can so easily think they're God's chosen people, calling them supremacists, justifying the murder of Palestinians, all true. This is not illegal discrimination, by the way.
You're a murderer, you're a terrorist, you're a supremacist. A friend of mine, she got approached by a pro-Palestinian student that said, "I'm gonna kick your ass." I went back home and I started crying. I was so shocked at what happened. I
started crying.
Experienced hate the way I experienced it that day.
Okay, bitch.
During my freshman year.
He went home and he started crying. Okay, what do I have to say to that?
Jesus Christ! Oh, Jesus Christ, you're such a little bitch.
Beginning in
This one's about a swastika drawn in the bathroom. Okay, we know who did that. Was it backwards?
I went to Friends Seminary. Beginning in kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. When I was in 9th grade, there were swastikas drawn in the bathroom. When I was in 10th grade, there was a math teacher at the school who did a Nazi salute in the classroom. Friends brought in a musician to play
really?
The school who harbored anti-Israel and anti-Semitic views.
It's God, what's his name? I interviewed him. He kind of backed off of the internet and stopped talking about Jew stuff. They were trying to ruin his life too much. What's his name? He's like Jewish or was Israeli or something. Guys, what's his name? He plays saxophone. This is so funny. They allowed a Jew to come play saxophone at our school. Gilad Atzmon, right? That's right.
Friends brought in a musician to play at the school who harbored anti-Israel and anti-Semitic views.
It is true that I'm a self-hater.
Self-hater. He's Jewish. They allowed a Jew who's critical of Jews to come to his school, and this guy's crying about it. Dude, this documentary sounds like a real hoot. I'm going to have to watch the whole thing.
Correct.
The school called and alerted law enforcement. Gilad Atzmon came to the school and he went in his room and cried.
Those who accuse me of being self-hater, that I'm actually a proud self-hater.
I had raised my concerns about this with a few people in the administration. I did not feel like my concerns were addressed. Friends is a Quaker school.
How many Zionist propagandists go speak at schools? Yeah, the author of that article was Alan Dershowitz, one of Epstein's lawyers, who kept his underwear on when he got his massage.
Well, they believe in Quaker values. Quakers do not support Israel.
Quakers.
That kind of just factored in to the environment to become so hostile to Jewish students.
So Christians just not supporting Israel is anti-Semitism? They don't worship a foreign land and think they're chosen? This documentary is anti-Semitic. I think so too, Jack Stone. Quakers? Dude, I'm feeling some Quaker Oats now.
He felt ostracized.
Boycott Quaker Oats.
I would not send my kid.
Or you're a Nazi. Oh, these are great.
After.
Please be another one. Yes.
Kind of advocate.
Oh, now they're taking all the token blacks to Israel for propaganda trips.
Martin Luther King Jr. had also...
Green, see? This is my brother, and I'm secretly black. Conspiracies about me being secretly Jewish, all wrong. I'm actually secretly black. A lot of black greens out there. Played basketball.
Advocated for the black and Jewish community to come together because we're both oppressed people.
Yeah, the blacks and the Jews got to come together against those evil whites.
I definitely think that there is some solidarity there.
Where you find Jew hatred, you'll inevitably find racism, you'll inevitably find homophobia, and several other forms of discrimination.
Bernstein,
So in
no.
order to fight this, I wanted as many influenced groups as possible to have a seat at the table.
I'm currently president of the Tulane Black Student Union. I'm co-executive for the Black Queer Collective.
Nice nose ring, bro. He's also a Christian slave of Zion.
Growing up, I wasn't out, so I felt very...
Called it. Man, how did I know?
He talks like a fag, too.
Okay, perfect soundbite. That was the perfect soundbite. Who needs a producer? I could do it all.
Very constrained and restricted in what I could do. I actually didn't come out to my family until sophomore year at Tulane.
Garrett sent $10. Will you be my boyfriend? No Shlomo.
No Shlomo. No goy friends. No, we're all goy friends. Oh, God. This is who they seek out for their Zionist propaganda? This guy? Dude, they are really digging themselves. Oh, this documentary is backfiring. They're like, and we found this one, and we sent him to Israel for pro-Israel propaganda. Wow.
Ways that I could help people in becoming...
Hold on. Did you see this one? Bro. Where's my that's a man, baby?
I can help people in becoming who they are.
It's a man, baby! To admit, she is rather mannish.
Thrive within their identities. Which is why when Ben came to me, I was like, yeah, I'm completely on your side. Like, whatever you need from me, I'm there.
The Tulane Israel leadership trip is something that we've taken starting in my first year. We call it TILT. And the TILT trip, we recruit leaders from across campus to visit the Middle East. Raymel Green is an amazing student we took.
The trip itself was focused on just simply learning the culture and getting to know the people of Israel. We met people from all sorts of backgrounds. They encouraged us to think freely, ask questions. When it comes to the conflict between Israel and Palestine, I just don't like
Goyim brainwashing trips.
Americans feel like we have an opinion. There are too many nuances. There are too many things that we don't know. I'm not saying it's not an important thing for us to all be well aware of and for us to all be more educated on, but I just feel like as people that are not directly impacted and as people that don't know the full story on either end, it is very harmful to all that Americans keep continuing.
Hey guys, you don't know the full story unless you go on the Israel-funded propaganda trip, or else you just don't know the whole story. If you haven't gone on the pro-Israel propaganda trip, you just don't know. White Falcon for 20. Thank you, White Falcon. Good to see you here. Been a while. Quick question. I just read that the Ashkenazis are descendants of Japhetites. Is that right? In Genesis 10:3. Those weren't Semites, right? How do they keep pushing this scam on Christian Zios? The Ashkenaz left, I think, before the Assyrian Babylonian captivity. Isn't that what it says? But the Jews who are known as Ashkenazi are not from those people. They're people that left after the temple was destroyed, is my understanding. Those weren't Semites. No, that would make them Semites. Oh, you're saying because they're not Shem, they're Japhite, they're not Shem. I see what you're saying. Yeah, whatever. The Noah's Ark story is not real, so none of that is true. But I guess technically that would mean that the Ashkenazi, if it were true that the Ashkenazi are really those people from Ashkenaz, then I guess that technically would mean they're not Semites. True. I see that's what you're saying, right, White Falcon?
Continuously
I see what you're
assuming that we know what's best, we know who's right, we know exactly what's going on, because we don't. I went, and I still don't know everything there is to know.
Wow. Please be more. This is so good. I hope there's one more. Yes. What's the solution? The IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. This film was funded by the Mitzi Project, who Cause IQ reveals was funded in turn by Goldman Sachs. Ah! Goldman Sachs is the first funder of that. Wow. Whoa. Okay, let's watch the last one.
Represents the Jew. Can the university adequately respond to incidents of anti-Semitism if they haven't even defined what anti-Semitism is?
The International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism represents the Jewish experience of anti-Semitism today, including when anti-Semitism is masked as
Zionist Organization of America,
anti-Israelism, or anti-Zionism.
It says what anti-Semitism is, and more importantly, it has examples relative to Israel.
Opposing them from conquering the Holy Land that God gave to them and murdering endless children. It's anti-Semitism and it's not allowed. Here's the list. I've been covering it for many years, and it hasn't changed anything. They're still passing it all over the place. Here's the biggest one. The myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or any societal institutions. Not allowed to talk about their power or their religion in that one. And then the other huge one is you're not allowed to talk about dual loyalty. And all the Christians will ever say is they're trying to ban the Bible. No, they're not. No, they're not. You're gonna complain about the only thing on the list that ain't true, for one. We got to have it's not anti-Semitic to blame all Jews today for killing God and saying they're cursed and have blood on their hands and they're all responsible. Making that the issue and that the war you want to fight on that one, that's the hill you want to die on. No, they're not trying to ban the Bible. They want the Bible in schools. They want you all believe in the Bible. All of Judaism is about getting all of the nations to believe in the God of the Bible. They're not banning the Bible.
If you see double standards towards Israel, if Israel is being demonized or delegitimized,
delegitimized. So we can't say you're not legitimate. That's too far.
The way that these things have been done to the Jewish people for.
Look, claiming the existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor. Literally, you can't call them racist. The people that think we can show clips of all these rabbis saying the most racist, supremacist things in the world, but if we point that out, anti-Semitism definition, you're done.
For centuries, that might well be anti-Semitism.
Can the university adequately...
Unbelievable. Roseanne's willing to die on this hill.
And then my numbers go down. When I talk about Judaism and I look at my comments. They're like, when are you going to get over this Jew stuff? And then my numbers go down. And I'm like, this is so great that I would end up with no followers at all because I talk about God and anti-Semitism and Judaism. That's my new goal.
Where did this passion come from to...
Oh my God. She's got millions of followers. She gets platformed on every big right-wing show. Yeah, try saying Jesus is fake and the prophecies are fake and it was invented by Jews and see how many followers you have then. She stands in front of the Reawaken America tour and screams about the Jewish Jesus, and all of the white goyim stand up and give her a round of applause, and she's like, talking about anti-Semitism is going to make me have no followers. Yeah, sure it is. Yeah, she had that rap video with the fake American Zionist cuck. What's his name? McDonald?
Proudly to defend your Jewishness. There's a lot of people that would not be doing that in your position.
Well, because they don't know what it is.
So what is it?
They think it's eating a bagel. It's life. Judaism is life itself. Torah is life itself. And I live in Torah and for Torah, and that's it.
How does that present itself on a day-to-day?
Praying, writing, talking, learning, talking to other students, trying to hear something new and trying to hear it said better. And
Order Dome sent $5 unmasked. The Jews are.
Thank you, Yoda. Hey, and you figured it out, huh? Problem with your credit card? Thank you, Zornder Edom. Good to have you. Welcome to Power Chat. Welcome to Chower Pat.
Wondering why more aren't interested. You know, since October 7th, I think it was an awakening and people are like, something else is going on. When I talk...
I gotta go to the bathroom real bad. And we're about 2 hours in. I might just have to save all this for tomorrow. This black stuff. Let's see. The 4chan stuff I do want to cover. The Elon baby mama stuff. The Stu Peters. You know, I'm just going to wrap it up here. I got to go eat and get the babies ready for bed. I'll pick up tomorrow with the racial tension stuff. I didn't know I was going to do the whole Paula White thing, and I didn't know there were so many clips about this anti-Semitism documentary. I think we're just going to leave it there. Yeah, Roseanne's trash. Thanks, everybody, for the Power Chats tonight. Huge shout out to Liam. Yo, Noah's Hide Shop for 124 on Rumble. Thank you so much. Says such a big dono. Such a generous contribution. Says we specialize in 4 skins: white, yellow, brown, black. Common sense for common sense. Thank you for everything you do, Adam. We all love you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. If you like the show, you want to support, you want me to keep doing it, subscribe star link below, P.O. box below, Power Chat links below also. You can go to knowmorenews.org and click the donate page. That's the best way for any big donos. They take a small percentage. At the buzzer. Got it in at the buzzer. You guys are amazing. I will be back tomorrow with another show. Tons of stuff. I love you all. Everybody have a nice night. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. No more shirts, but I am doing a new order of the other shirts.
Liam Jarrett sent $5 post space place on X with me. Come in.
Liam's going to have a space on X. If you guys can, drop that link in the chat below for Liam's space on X. Thank you, White Falcon. Thank you, everybody. Zornder Edom. Need more Amalek. Zionist cuck. It was cool to talk to everybody the other way. I think we'll probably do another panel this Sunday. I'll just have a party panel every Sunday. Is that what we're going to do? Get the guys together and hang out and shoot the shit. Sounds like fun to me. You guys are my only social interaction, actually. I wake up, I see the news, I get all seething and mad and black-pilled, and I just got to fire up the stream and talk to all my internet friends. Anyway, I will be back tomorrow. You guys have a nice night and take care. Oh, and the shirts. Yeah, I'm all out of shirts, but I'm going to do another order. I'm getting V-necks, and it's going to be the Viking owl and the Viking boat, the Viking longboat. I'll have those up for pre-sale. Get them before they're gone. Limited editions very soon. I'm about to put that order in. And you guys all take care. I will see you tomorrow.